Hey everybody out there. Well, this is day 2. I'm working on this project and the key bed is phenomenal. This thing is, I just have to align the keys a little bit more, make them look a little bit more straighter. But I tweaked up the action, sprayed the key bed black. Looks really good. Here's the contact board for the Casio. It's right on there, but it's not installed in yet. This is just a demo test. Because I wanted to check if that worked, and obviously it does work, but it needs a little more tweaking. So let me show you. I'm going to put this camera on a stand and I can explain, and I hope you guys can see this well. It works, but it has to be at a certain angle for it to actually go. It has to be at a certain angle and a certain distance. So that's one thing that I found out about. So say for instance, and same thing over here. This, I found out these two right over here, they split apart. So push come to shove, I might have to cut that contact, which I don't want to do, because just in case. So I can install the contacts right here. Use a nice board. I bought a couple boards, or I can install it underneath the keyboard. If I install it underneath the keyboard, of course it's going to be perfect. But the only thing that's bothering me is these wires right here. So I have to make room for the wires. I was not going to quit on this project. I'm the kind of person that will keep on going. I'm not quitting on this project, but I want to show you something. Is that the keyboard's apart. You see it's in 3 pieces plus the bottom chassis is right there. Those speakers are loud, very, very loud, and I have to enclose them. So if I keep on going with this project, I ran into a little snag, which was the hammers of the Kawai. This, by the way, this key bed feels so good, so good. So my snag was basically that the speakers and the hammers touching each other. When this goes up to a full, see how far it goes up? When it goes up that way, it basically is hitting the speakers or any of these little things around it. So, which means I have to elevate the whole keyboard upwards. I have to elevate it upwards, and which I didn't want to do, but it's okay because the feeling of this thing is great. Second thing is that I found out that this keyboard has been operated on before I got it, because there's some screws missing. I found out about that because I bought it used for like $500. But this feels great. It feels good. Once I regulate it, it's gonna feel. It feels like a real piano. It feels like I'm playing a real piano. But I have to get this correctly to be stable and everything. Another thing I found out, which blew me away, is that look at the connections. I thought everything was soldered in. They're not. They're not soldered in at all. I could disconnect, I could reconnect, I can even manipulate. I did try to see if I could put an 88 keyboard on here. I found out that the 88 contact that I was working with, this one right here, this is from the Kawai, it won't work. It needs to be powered. That's one thing. I think it needs to be powered, a higher source power. This one is a smaller contact, and you see that has capacitors in the back. This one doesn't. So if I could find another Casio just like that, I just have to look and see if anybody else took theirs apart. Maybe I can do it. So there's a chance. Or a 76 key. it might be 73 keys instead of 76. But that's a chance right there. But this blew me away that these are detachable. Everything in this keyboard is detachable. I looked at right here and I'm like, oh, everything's soldered in, like that connection right there, like these connections right over here, they're detachable. Okay, so the other snag that I have, if I continue with this project with this, and I know this project will work, I'm going to have to cut the keyboard. I'm gonna say, for instance, if you can see right over there, I have to cut the keyboard right here. That's one. Same thing with the other side. I'm gonna have to cut the keyboard just right in this area, because then, and also then I have to build another. Cheek for it, which I was thinking about woodblock cheeks. This one's okay, but I have to actually cut right here on the keyboard. The speakers are great, so that's my thing. Oh, and also I have to cut this. I have to cut the bottom here. It's already split it apart. So all I have to do is just split it apart again. So that's what I'm going to do today, because I can easily put that right back together if I'm not happy with it. Because look at this. The keyboard is flexible. The chassis is flexible. I don't know if you can see that, but I'm going to put it on the stand again. And look, the chassis is flexible, just like that. So that's why I keep on getting that bounce. All right, a lot of people say, keep on going with this project, keep on going with this project. I do, but I'm scared. You know why? Because I love this thing. I can afford it. I could get another one. I can always get another one if I mess up. That's no problem. You know, I got the money for that, so I could get another one if I mess up. But I got this real cheap, and I might end up getting another one anyway. But I got this real cheap. But I really want to experiment and prove myself wrong to see if I could do this project. But I think it's going well right now. So yesterday I wrote that everything was on standby. It's still on. Everything is still on. I'm gonna prove myself wrong. Put a weighted action into this Casio, which is really good. And if I could find a 76 or 88 key contact board, I'm building myself. And I got the rest of the keys. I have 88, this came with an 88 key chassis. So I'm building myself an 88 key workstation, Casio workstation. What I had to do was I had to take a whole day. I worked until probably until 2 o'clock in the morning, just studying this, thinking it over. I almost postponed the project, but I want to keep on going because I did a lot of studying until 2 o'clock in the morning with this keyboard, and I did a little experiments too. So I think this project is still going to work. So I did find out that these parts they could disconnect, just like a Yamaha keyboard, which is really cool. Usually Casio keyboards, everything is soldered in. Not this one. So this is just like this is a pro workstation. Okay, this is my snag, as I said, everybody. I have to cut, say for instance, give you an example. I'm gonna have to cut at that line right here and right over here. So I need to take these two sections apart, take this section apart right over here, and this is easy. That's one, and that's two. Now any little hooks that you see, by the way, I took pictures of everything before. You see, you have to take pictures of everything. And you're gonna need color markers. The reason I say color markers is because some of these parts, they're not labeled. Some of these parts, they look like each other, and you might put one circuit into the wrong circuit. That's gonna be bad. So, take out the color markers. I just bought these from Home Depot. And these are color permanent markers right here. See, we got black, we got red, we got blue, we got green. So I'm just gonna use, let's do the black for now. We're gonna work on the speakers. So one speaker's right here. I'm gonna mark these two black. So what I do is I mark the tip on the top and the tip on the bottom. Same thing with this side. Now actually, the other side, I'm gonna mark it blue. Tip on the bottom and tip on top. Because these two look exactly alike, so I don't want to get them confused. Okay, so this is gonna be the left speaker. I could take these out. Look, they're detachable. So that's the left speaker right there. Next one is the right speaker. So the right speaker, I'm gonna put this one red. And red on the tip right here. And green. So, just in case if anything goes wrong, you know where things are. So this one is the right speaker. Detach that. There we go. Okay, so we got other connections. This right over here, this is a 5-pin connection right over here. So I could just easily put that one, I'm gonna put that one as green. Keep it as green. One goes here. And one goes, if you can't get it in the top, just put it on the sides. Just like that. That one's disconnected. Okay? This one's blue. This one is a, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 connection. Just an 8-pin. One here, one right there. Just like that. Now remember, this is everything that's on the left side. Okay, one more. This one is underneath here. So it's kind of hard. What I have to do is I have to take apart the MIDI, and I have a screwdriver for that. I should have been a little bit more prepared because I didn't know that was there. But you know what, let me see if I can do this. Just basically take that apart. And we have this right over here. Oh, I can do this. This is no problem. I'm gonna make that one red. No, black. It's gonna be black right here. Take it apart. There we go. And black on the tip. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make it black and red on the other side because it's on the right side. So just to, there you go. Black and red right there. So when I take this one apart, it's going to be the same thing, black and red. That side is done. Now, we got the right side. So the right side over here, we're gonna do, let's see, how many of them is there? There's this one right here. I'm gonna make that blue. There we go. Next one. It's easy. It's just one more. So this side is a lot easier than the other side. So this side over here, I'm going to make that one blue. Nah, make it green. Green goes on top right here. I'm going to take it apart. Green goes below right here. Okay, and your contact board is right over here, which is the ribbon. The ribbon actually, right on the circuit board, it says blue. So where the blue is at, that's where it has to be facing. And guess what, everybody? you got the main controller right here. So let me put this over here. You got the right side of the keyboard, which is right here. Ooh, I don't want to scratch my piano. But you got the right side of the keyboard. So let me move this over. I hope you guys can see it through the camera. Just like that. Right here. And you got your slider controls right over here. Your pitch bending wheel, draw bar speakers and track positions right there. So this is going to be the left side. That goes in right there. So I hope you guys can see this, but yeah, this is the MZ-2000 when it first came out of the box. God help me, because you know I don't want to do this, but I'm gonna have to cut right here and right over here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take basically a straight. This is right here. This is restickable sorry, not plywood. This is restickable veneer wood, and I'm gonna cut it in half, just like this. And this has an adhesive that I can stick on. So it's gonna be right here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put it from one side to the other side, just like that. Actually, let me put it just a little bit over here, one side to the other side. There we go. So when I cut, it's going to be right at the line. And same thing right over here. Let me cut this a little bit better so I don't mess up. There you go. Let's see. Yep, that's perfect. I always have to make sure my cuts are good, you know? Now, this is not the first Casio that I cut. I did a retrofit. I married two things together. I did a retrofit of a Casio PX 330. Put it inside of a General Music white grand piano, and you guys can see the video on that. And also put a Yamaha Disclavier inside of it, and it worked. And I will share that video with you guys. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, right there. Sorry, 1 and 2. 1 and 2 right there. So let's disconnect this. I'm gonna put the controls over here. And the controls, you can easily just do whatever you want with it, which is pretty cool. You know, because this is the whole epicenter of the whole keyboard right there. Make sure you don't crack that screen, because that's what it relies on. And right over here, oh Lord, I'm gonna have to cut. So, wish me luck, everybody, because before I cut, I'm gonna do some more thinking. It's gonna be cut today, and the speakers are gonna be regular. It's gonna be cut today, and I'm not ready for this, because every time I cut into a keyboard, I always have to prepare myself. Okay, so let me show you. Before I cut it, I took the wood veneer strips that are stickable, and I put it where I want it to be cut. Right over here, right over here. I made it a little bit slanted, just a tight slant. The reason is because the key slip itself, it has a tight slant. So after that, I put it right over here, because I'm going to cut on that line. And the reason I did that is because I could be really, really straight with my jigsaw. I have to go very slow with the jigsaw, because if I go too fast with the jigsaw, it could make the wrong cuts, and also at the same time, it could burn the plastic. So right there, and right over here. So before I cut this, I have to flip it back over, and any electronics that are basically in the circuits of it, you have to take off. Except for the speakers. The speakers are gonna be all right. But I have to put a blanket and then cut it. You can use a handsaw to do it. I think that might be the best, or you can use a jigsaw. With the jigsaw, you're gonna make a lot of noise, number one, because it's hollow plastic, and you know, you could go wrong with it. So you just gotta be very, very careful. So I have to decide which is gonna be the best way. Take the electronics off, because there's wires that are in between, and I think that's the smartest way to do it. If you want, if you have another wood veneer strip, you could do it the same way this way too. Like putting another one right here. All right, everybody, pray for me. So I did decide I am gonna cut it. I said it throughout this video, I'm gonna go full throttle with it. I'm just gonna, if I mess up, I'm just gonna learn a really, really valuable lesson. But I did many of these retrofits before. I'm very nervous about this. Okay, so before I cut, I did take out the electronics in this part where it's supposed to be. So all the electronics are on both sides, except for the speakers. So I left the speakers alone because I really don't need to take that out. That is basically a good weight for me. So if, when I'm cutting, it doesn't move around that much. Okay, number two is that if you decide you want to do this project, you have voided your warranty. This is a used item. If you do it to your new one, you have voided your warranty from Casio. Casio does not take any responsibility, or not even any other company. So not just Casio, but any other company, they do not take any responsibility for your actions, what you do for this keyboard or any of your keyboards. So you have voided your warranty. Make sure you make the right decisions before you do. I've been doing it for a long time, so just to let you know. Okay, so I decided that I'm gonna use this. I'm gonna try this out first with this little hacksaw. The reason of that, if I use a power tool and if it goes too fast, it could melt the plastic. So I decided instead of that, I'm just gonna use this. All right, here goes everybody. What did Coyote Peterson say on that Brave Wilderness show? I'm Kris Nicholson, and I'm about to enter the cut zone. Actually, I have to do it this way. I could do it this way, but I have to do it this way. The reason of that, I hope you guys can see it, because it's not even up. All right, hold on just 1 minute. And okay, so this is going to take some time, so I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to cut both pieces, then after that I'm going to show you, because this little thing is going to take just a little bit of time just to do that. I tell you everybody, that was not easy. It was painful. It was painful. Every time I do surgery on a keyboard, it is painful. That was not easy, because this is such a great workstation. But I got the pieces cut. And it took a long time. It took a long time to do that, but you know what? It's almost close to even the way how I want it. I was shaking while I was doing this at the same time. I should have used the electric one, but I didn't want it to melt the plastic. But yeah, So the sides are cut. Now, what are you going to do with the sides? I'm going to show you that in a later video. But I think it's going to look cool. I think it's going to look cool of the design that I'm going to put to it. Oh boy. Yeah, so as you can see, these are the sides right here. It's down. I'm trying not to let the wind blow it, but it's cut, everybody. This one right here is down. And that one right there. See, I got a little space. Okay, so what's drying out here, which I sprayed black, this is the backboard of the Casio keyboard. And the reason it's big is because of the action. So the keyboard's going to be a little bit taller, but it's still going to look really good after I'm finished with it. I got many plans of how to do this. And the other side is going to be in signature blue. Probably a little bit off, but it's okay. You know, something that's close to it. But yeah, this is the backboard. Okay, this is the concept right here. I have not designed the sides of it yet, but I think it's going to look cool. But it's a little bit taller, which is okay because of the action. It fits, and wait until I spray on the colors. Wait until, first I have to put the protective covering over the wood. And it says Trophy Hunter right there, which is really good. But you can see, there's the action right there. Sorry about that. That's one of the cables. But it's not going to be hitting anything because there's going to be a stop rail that I have to install onto the action. Just like that. But it's pretty cool. It is pretty cool. Another thing that I have a Vizio soundbar which I took apart, and I'm thinking about adding more speakers to it. So I gotta check the amp rate on it and see if I could. I don't want to overpower it. Same thing on this side over here. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. But yeah, it's gonna look good. It's gonna look good. You know, I did many projects before that I took apart keyboards. I will never take apart any of my expensive keyboards. This one I could definitely replace if something goes wrong with it. Some of my real expensive ones I can't. But yeah, this is what it looks like. This is the concept. But it's gonna be even more fabulous after I'm finished with it. So, just wanted to show you. I'm thinking about adding thicker sides to it. Thicker sides. The sides of the MZ is going to be cheek blocks, just like on a piano. So I don't know if you've ever seen it, but you see on a piano, this is a Steinway Grand, and you have cheek blocks. One right there and one right over here. What I was trying to do is see if I could add a fall board, but that's not going to be possible with this. The reason of that is because the control panel. So I wanted to do a fall board just like the Technics Can 7000. So that's it. And this right over here, this is a real piano action. This is another project. Yes, everybody, that's going to be another project that I'm designing. So I work with pianos all through my life and keyboards, and I like to always combine and marry the two. So this is my first hybrid keyboard that I'm building. So as you can see, this is basically the concept of how I want to build it. But of course, I want to add some nice attractive sides to it. The pitch bend and modulation wheel, it came out with a very short cable. So there's two options I have. Me learning how to solder, which I could actually learn on YouTube, or to bring the cheek just a little bit closer. You know, it could still be attached, but just a little bit closer. So what I did is I was playing with it, and I can tell you, and I'm still getting that knocking sound. All the rest of them are fine. So my only swag on this thing, my only stag I should say, is that I could bring the front up a little bit. If I bring the front up a little bit, it'll level the music desk. Or I could bring the back up a little bit. So it's either the front or the back. As I said, with the front, the pitch bend and modulation wheel is kind of a snag. Now over here, this is actually the headphone switch. This is the headphone jack right here. So that's a long cable. That's a very, very long cable. I'm trying to think if I could find some extra cables in my stash that I have of other digital pianos. If I can make the pitch bend and modulation a little bit bigger, will it work? I think so. So, what I have to do now is I have to disassemble the body all over again. So I'm going to take these cheeks off. And how I take this off right over here, I lift up all three pieces at the same time. Just like that. And I'm just going to put it right, make sure nothing is attached. Have to put it right here. So, the action is perfect. So most of the framework is already done. This is going to be the key slip right over here. It's unfinished, but also I put a piece of felt here, which is really neat. And these two are the side blocks. So this is exactly where I want them to be. Everything could be attachable. The side blocks are actually going to be bolted in and glued in, so it won't go anywhere. But now I could just start working on the inside and start attaching things. So that's where it's going to get interesting. I added the back of the keyboard, and I made this black, of course, because it's dark, but it matches with the inside theme. Even though you cannot really see the inside, but it looks professional. When you open it up, you don't just see bare wood. And I'm going to actually reattach the keyboard and do the same thing to it. After I reattach the keyboard, then of course the little inside parts will be taken back out to sprayed. So once I attach, I'm sorry, not the keyboard, but once I attach the wood pieces, then I can go outside, detach them, I should say, I'm sorry, and put them, spray the lacquer on it. All right, so I think this is going good. Okay, so I already attached the key slip right here, and these right over here, these are going to be the support blocks for like the sides. So what I did, the same way I attached the key slip, I drilled from underneath, 1, 2, 3. I made sure that I put the key slip here and then drilled from underneath of the where the whole spaces were. And I did the same thing on this side. You have to make sure that whatever you do to the right side, you have to do to the left side when it comes to also building a piano. This right over here are the support blocks. So I'm going to put one right here. Actually, this one goes on this side. And this one goes on this side. So I left a space just in case if I need to put any wires, which is really good. I was originally going to have them like this, but I said, nah, you know what? Let's just do them like this, which is good. I think it goes this way. Yeah, it goes that way. And just going to make sure both of them are even. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually drill underneath. So you guys get to watch me drill them underneath. actually not bad for the first cut. I decided to go with the rounded edges. I love the curve on it. It's so beautiful. I didn't want it to be too wide. It kind of reminds me of a spinet piano that I played a long time ago, that I used to own. But it's wonderful. It's wonderful. Now, of course, I have to make the other side, but before that, I'm trying to debate in my head. Sorry about the camera mode. Put this in a better area. I'm trying to debate in my head if I want to double it. So if I double it, I'm actually making not 2 of these, but I'm making 4 of these. One thing that is so good about making 4 of these, it makes it look more professional. The headache about it is that it carries a little bit more weight on the piano. This piano already is a little bit heavier than when I first got it. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to do is measure and see. I got this. This is basically a PVC lining, and this is from the outside of it. So it's gonna have a nice smooth outside. So I might want to double it, but with a different kind of wood, you know, make it look a lot thinner. So I can either use this to double it this way, or with the other one. This one's even a more thicker one. So I can use this. Let me see if I can do this way. I can use this to double it. And for this to double it, it'll look kind of almost like a piano, which is really good. I don't know if this could bend very, very easily without snapping, so I might have to go with the little one instead. Okay, I attach the side. I decided to make a double, and I'm going to show you guys how to do that with the next side. I just wanted to experiment with this one first. Now, as you can see, the PVC siding, I think you use that for the sides of something. I forgot, probably your bathroom. It's attached there, which is pretty cool. It's not attached, but it's on there and it fits good. I did run into a little snag with that. If you bend it a little too hard, it cracks. But don't worry, because I have to put screws in that PVC anyway. And then after that, I'm gonna put a wood veneer topping just to hide those cracks and everything. But it's coming along very good. You can see by the speaker there's a little gap, so that's another area that I have to figure out. See a little gap right there? But it dresses up the sides a lot better, which is pretty cool. I can still detach and reattach the top part. So I want to leave the top part that it could detach and reattach while the sides could stay as it is. So now I'm going to teach you guys how to actually put on the sides. Okay, so now we're going to attach the sides. I already started, you know, and I didn't realize what I was doing. I was like, I'm supposed to film it. But the glue that I use, that you can see, this is an adhesive and it's a glue. This is the Loctite. This is the go-to glue, all purpose, but it works good with wood and it works good with plastic stuff, which is really cool. So you're gonna need glue. What I did is I went all around the perimeter of the sides, and then I made an X. That's all you need. And yeah, that's all you need because it's thick. So after you do that, take this side, which is your other side, and you're going to press it together, just like that. You're just gonna leave it on there. Next, you're gonna need 4 screws. Very little screws, because one thing about it is that it's gonna go in, but you don't want it to show on the other side. So I'm kind of doing this backwards, and a good thing I looked back at the model, because what happened is that this is supposed to be on this side. So thank God I looked back at the model. I don't want that other side showing. So I put it this way. So remember I told you whatever you have to do to the right side, you have to do to the left side. So I put it that way, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark with a pen like a small little box area. So it's gonna be one here. This is gonna be number 2. number 3, and number 4. Just like that. Okay, so make sure it's lined up perfectly. I think this is good. I'm going to install my first screw with my screwdriver right here. And let's do this one first. Oh, you see? It kind of shifts a little bit. So I back the screw out, put it back over. That adhesive is a little bit slippery. I forgot to warn you about that. There we go. And your hands are gonna get a little sticky, but don't worry if it gets on the wood or whatever. That's no problem. Okay, so make sure it's there. And there we go. Make sure it's inside. It could bury inside the wood, so that's no problem. After you get the first one in, just make sure everything's lined up because you can still maneuver it just a little bit. There you go. That's perfect. Okay, so now let's do number 2. I'm going to do a cross section, which is right here. There you go. Number 3. Perfect. And this is number 4. Perfect. You don't have to wait until it dries, but what I suggest is that you can actually attach it onto the model that you're working on, and after you do that, then you make your measurements of your PVC siding piece. But before I do that, I forgot to show you one thing. See the little ridges right here? Take sandpaper. And gets it off, just like that. And it's not fully even, and I don't have a belt. I have a belt sander, but right now I just ran out of belts for it, so I should get that next time. But you're gonna put that PVC piece over it anyway. There you go. So this side is going to be showing. This side with the screws is not going to be showing. See what I mean? So that's your complete side right there. Okay, so before I put on the side, let me explain. I got this bar right over here, this nice long piece of wood. And the reason I have that is because I'm going to measure up the bottom of the side to the piece of wood. The bottom of the wood is not going to go right down this way because you got parts showing, so it's going to go more up this way, which is going to be really cool. So I suggest that you measure where it's actually going to go from top to bottom, and then I try to do this one-handedly, which my drill is over there, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill 2 holes, probably one here because it's going to hit the wood, and one in the back here because it's going to hit that wood over there. So when you do that, you'll have another complete side, which is going to look very nice. As you can see, I attached the left side of the cheek. This is actually what they call a cheek. These are cheek blocks, but this is definitely what you call a cheek for the piano because it makes the piano look good. So here is the PVC side that you can get from like Lowe's or Home Depot or any of your woodworking stores, basically, or plumbing stores. It's made out of PVC and it's bendable, which is really neat. So I bend it, and I did this one early, and it can actually fit. Once I put it there, it can fit just like the other one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of PVC, and I can show you how to bend it. When you bend a piece of PVC, of course, you can use, what I use is basically, there's a 2x4 right over here. So say if I'm going to bend this little piece right over here, I hold it and I bend it, and it goes very evenly. So it's just like that. Now don't worry if it doesn't go fully. The reason of that is because you don't want to snap it like how I did at the end. And at the back, like say for instance, if you want that nice subtle curve that's like right here, you can either leave it straight, but you want to actually curve it. You can leave it straight and just make it longer, or you can curve it yourself. And what I do is I use my knee right over here, and I go little at a time. Then I can use my hand and go little at a time with that. So it curves in many different ways that you can have, no matter how you make your piano, if you make it a grand or if you make it just like this, kind of like an upright kind of thing. But that's how it is. This is really cool. This only cost me like around $5 a length basically. So it comes in handy. Now I want to attach my screws. So what I suggest is that the same way you attach your screws onto this side, you have to do to the other side. But before you do that, I suggest to actually put your adhesive glue on the bottom of it so this won't slide from one side to the other side. So this is how I'm going to do it. Go on this side, just to show you. Start from the top, and I put it in the middle. Put it in the middle, just like that. Don't do the vertical sides yet. Just do the horizontal sides and the curve. Okay. When I go to the vertical sides, when you go like this, it could get on your floor. So I do it at an angle. So that's one. I hope you guys can see this. That's two. So just like that. I try not to let it fall. If it's what I do is also I smear it just a little bit. And I do the same thing to the back. I know you guys can't see the back, but that's one. Oh, I dropped it right there, but it's okay. That's number two. After doing that, I stick the side on and just smear it a little bit. Look right here and right there. So now we want to attach our screws. Once we attach the screws, the adhesive will be on there. Leave it alone for probably an hour. So here's going to be one. I'm going to put it in the same spot where I put the other one. Now don't worry, because this this whole PVC side is going to be, oops, I forgot to hold it. This PVC side is actually going to be veneered over. So I'm going to have to do it. I was trying to see if I could show you those guys at the same time, but you have to hold it down just like this. And it goes in just like that. So after you do this side, do the back side. I'm gonna have to move it over a little bit so you guys can see it better. There we go. So after the front side, do the back side. And what I do is I get this started onto the PVC first. There you go. Move it down, right there, and perfect. Move this over just like that, and get another screw, and I have one right here in the middle, because that's where it pops out. Probably I should put it down lower. There you go. And I have one right here, which is at the tip right over here. I'm gonna get a longer one for that. There you go. And this is bendable, just like that. So, make sure it's at the right coordinates that you want it. Oops. That's a little blooper right there. Okay, let's do this again. Put it right, I say right here. Right here, actually. And perfect. I'm gonna do one right here, just a little one. Honestly, I think this side came out better than the other side. Now when you put the wood veneer on top of this, you're not gonna see those screws. So I'm gonna do the same thing with that side. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how the piano looks with this new key slip. Turn it on. So that's how it looks with this new key slip right there. And that looks really, really good. So since it looks like a piano, it's starting to look like a piano. It hasn't got its color yet because I'm going to put the colors on. I was working on another project, which is going to be the top. It's right here. So the top is going to cover over the original music desk and all this other writing right here, because you have that in the back. But I need to cut the length of the top so it looks really good. And I don't know, I was thinking about just yeah, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave the top just a regular like this, but I'm just gonna cut the length of where it begins and where it ends. I might pop it out just a little bit, like that. There you go. That's exactly what I might do. Is just pop it out just like that. So only thing that I have is basically to hide the sides, and that's gonna be my next dilemma. But it's gonna look really cool, so you have a general idea of how it looks. The sides have been installed onto the piano. I'm debating in my head to redo this one over again because of the little mistake. That one came out 10 times perfect. So I might end up doing this one over again. But I wanted to put the finishing touches, not really finishing touches, but the topping of the cake, which is gonna be the top of the piano. And so I did measure it, and I fitted this, and it actually goes right here. So I made the top a little bit bigger on this side, and I had it evenly flushed from the back. What I did is I took a little thin piece of wood like this, use it as a spacer, and actually got one side right here. There you go. And the other side is almost perfect. So let me move that over just a little bit. Okay. So that's one side right there. Okay, and let's see this other side here. Okay, I see that this one needs to be moved over a little bit more. That's how I usually measure it up. I'm trying not to cover the Casio name. I think that right here would be good. Same thing for right here. There you go. Try this other side again. Push this over a little bit. Okay, almost got it. This one right here. And perfect. Perfect. So now I get to screw it in. Just 2 screws will do. The reason of that is because this part right over here is gonna hold down, but I'm not finished yet covering this part. I made it a little bit more higher. So after I test out everything, as you can see, the electronics are on. So here we go. It's 1. It's number 2. Okay, and everybody, this is what it looks like right now. You know, it's weird because I didn't know how I was gonna do this. I said, let me make it. I'm stuttering. Let me make it look like a spin it piano kind of way. So, or I can make it look vintage. So it's either I was gonna do it like this, which have the top on. I'm gonna fill up these sides over here. I'm gonna bring the USB to the front. So I could probably bring the USB right over here, or probably right here. But what I wanted to also do is I also wanted to make a fall board, a sliding fall board, which is basically a key cover. Just something like this, you know? So I want to make a sliding fall board like a key cover, so you could just slide it in and slide it back. So that's my next dilemma, which I'm trying to actually work on. And I think I could do it. That's going to be another challenge. But the electronics work on here, so just to show you, here's a demo. I think it's these 2 right here. To me, it's a little bit louder because I initialized this before I actually put it back in. I haven't put my own stuff back in here yet, but it's a little bit louder. What I need to do is close up the bottom of this and have it a little bit more bassier, so, which is going to be really cool. I think this is working out very, very well. As I said, this is not finished yet, so I have to add the colors to the sides. I gotta make sure if I still want these sides or if I want to edit them a little bit more. So that's another thing. Number 2 is I gotta add the main part of the piano, which is the contact strip. 2 ways of doing this. I could put it suspended above the action, or I could put it below the action. If I put it below the action, it might make things a lot easier and I could just get over with it. But at the same time, it can make things a little bit difficult because of the wiring. If I put it above the action, no problem. All I have to do is put a stop rail for the hammers.